Hotep is a connection word that means peace and satisfaction, and it's symbolized by a loaf of bread and offering table. So we come together in the spirit of Hotep, because to be satisfied is to feed each other physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And you will see, you'll be fed in all of these ways today. We will feed each other in all of these ways. I'm Dr. Nteri Nelson, co-founder of Hotep, Academy of the KEMETIC Education and Wellness Center in Metaphysician. I am a metaphysician, an educator, a clinician, a KEMETIC psychologist, an author, researcher, and I welcome you to our third annual KEMETIC Karest Mas Celebration. You will see you are in for a mighty, mighty treat today. More than anything that you've maybe experienced for a long time, the sustenance. My husband's going to introduce himself in a moment, but I first want to acknowledge Dr. Educator and all the staff at the National Center of Afro-American Artists for co-hosting this event with us today. Let us give Dr. Barry and all of the National Center of Afro-American Artists a big round of applause. Make this a series, a long series of annual KEMETIC Karest Mas Celebration. So on that note,
my name is Lester Nelson, but my name today is Baba. And we've been married for 26 years, and this is one of the greatest moments of our life, to be able to express what we've learned in that period of time, to bring families together. We've been counseling. She's been doing it for 30 years, and I've been helping her before. And the object of this was to help to keep families from falling apart. So we've been successful with single people that are not married, married people that want to get divorced. But now it's time to do group consciousness. See, we can't move as a people until we understand what group consciousness is all about. And today's exercise is the beginning of understanding what group consciousness is all about. And I'm glad you all showed up. Hope more come in the door, but you've been blessed today to understand how we're going to pull ourselves out of bootstraps when we don't have any bootstraps.
Okay. All right, and there's a whole economic report that the community, all that signed in and left their email, we will cause you to have a copy of that document that everybody needs to read about the state of Black Massachusetts and how it's so important to come out of this material grip that we're in, and that's what you're going to see today, that pulling out of that material grip and consciousness and making this course correction. I'm just going to go quickly over the program today, and then we're going to go right into a PowerPoint, and then we'll clear the floor and we'll begin our ritual. So things will move very quickly. You'll all do just fine. Don't worry that we didn't, rehearse for weeks and weeks and weeks, because all you got to do is just follow the lead, okay? All right, so we did our welcoming. We acknowledged, okay, so welcome to the KEMETIC Karest Mas. So we're going to show a PowerPoint where we look at these key symbols that we're reclaiming. And then after that finishes, we'll quickly clear the floor. Everybody will be standing. We stand erect as we are in that posture to receive this downpouring of these spiritual energies at this time. We will have our everyone participating in this ritual will have a libation, and then we'll have an opportunity to, in this room you'll see that we'll face in all four directions, east, west, south, and north in this ritual. And then when we conclude, you'll have an opportunity to go into that eastern altar, and you'll receive some instruction just before you do so. All right? So without any further ado, we're going to move to just quickly show you through the PowerPoint. We have this academy in Metaphysician. We've been there. We've been doing this work 30 years. We've had the school there. So come and learn more. If you feel like there's something that you move too quickly by, come and study and learn about what our African ancestors have given us.
It takes a school for us to be able to get out of this. We have to have consistent teaching, at least once a week, once, maybe even more, because we've been taught not about ourselves, but about other people who don't look like us. Now it's time for us to learn about who we are. And this is what our school is all about.
All right, and we want to take a moment to welcome Minister Randy from the Nation of Islam, who's been holding down this community. The nation is the strong foundation. And Center, who's been healing. And there are many, many more who are here who are likewise doing great work, and we want you to have a chance to exchange and talk to each other. But quickly, I'm going to just move you through. So here we are. This is the Academy of KEMETIC Education and Wellness. And here we are at our KEMETIC Karest Mas celebration. And like Kwanzaa, this is an African-centered celebration where we are restoring all our sacred symbols and taking them from the grips of materialism. While at the same time we're reenacting the truth and the resurrection of what is the Karest, the Haru, the sun, S-U-N, and the sun, S-O-N, daughter, within, that is happening at this time of the winter solstice. So we'll show you something about that now. All right, so like Kwanzaa, this is an African-centered celebration. Why a Karest Mas celebration? Today is about remembering and understanding of this time of year. What is this time of year about? And what are the symbols we need to reclaim? What are the ritual components of this celebration? We are at the, I just got the thing, so let me see if I can get that little red thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what time, this is a cosmic event. Our African ancestors understood cosmically. So right now, and can everyone turn off their cell phones, please? My husband first in line. So what is the winter solstice and the summer solstice? Well, here we are at this time of year. And at the winter solstice, the sun has reached its deepest descent in the sky, right? Everybody notice that? The deepest descent in the sky. And then it seemingly stations for 3 days, which sun is soul, the sun, stis or trice, is stationing for 3 days before making its reascent. So we have now reached today, this very day, the longest night, the lengthening of that dark shadow, the longest night, before we now shift to have an increase of light. And this was symbolic because we are, as the sun, our African ancestors understood Ra, that great solar orb in the sky, is as we are. We are star, we are stellar beings. And so we understood this reenactment of going into the womb, into the tomb, to emerge from the womb to be born again. For our African ancestors, in the winter, this would have been darkness. In the summer, it's about drought. So it's about the same concept, because in here in the summer, they're waiting for the flooding of the Nile. Now, we don't have the Nile in this northern hemisphere. We've been taken out of our land. So we are recognizing here this darkness that we're now overcoming. And you see here just another image of the solstice. Okay? All right. Now, in this room, we are going to be enacting this celebration, and you see the stationing. So this is east, this is west, I'm in the south and that's north, so you will face all those directions as we process. Now, here's a Medunetsian word, karest. This is in the Persian rule. Our African ancestors have written this book thousands of years ago. Predates the Bible, predates the Quran, predates the Bhagavad Gita. Karest is tomb, and Messi is birth. So it's how we move from the tomb to the womb to be reborn again. This is a time of death, birth, renewal. And so it's a correct time to ask, as we go through this ritual, don't just go through it, hold the energy. Ask yourself, children, ask yourself, adults, I'll start with the children. Ask yourself, what must you shed, children, or young people? What must you shed? What must die? See, death isn't just a physical death. Death means death of a bad habit. Death of maybe thinking negative thoughts about yourself instead of thinking positively. So you're asking what needs to be shed, what must die that we may be reborn again. So you're leaving all that needs to be shed here, and you're being rebirthed again. So take advantage of the cosmic energies that support you. You are supported cosmically now. This is not, well, I gotta go get some energy to do this, you know? I don't have to drink a Gatorade or to run the marathon. No. Cosmically, the energies are coming through now that support this ship. So take advantage of that. What must die? What must be shed that I may be born again? And so we are in that solar block, and we are making this journey as we move from the tomb to the womb to be reborn again. This is the book that I've offered. You'll be able to purchase this if you like later. These are some other books you can come and study with us. All right, so the symbols. What are our symbols? Well, we're claiming our divine symbol of the divine trinity of Osir, Oset, and Haru. This is our divine trinity. This is our divine mother and child, Oset and Haru, with the baby Karest or Haru child. This would later become these images. So we lost our connection with our symbols as they become something else. Today we are reconnecting all of those symbols. We're reclaiming back our symbols. All of these symbols. This is Osir, the Lord of the worlds, the awesome presence, and so you see that these symbols of Osir would later get corrupted or co-opted by the Pope. So our very same symbols have been taken by and changed into other dispensations to make it to look like something else. And so we wonder why we salivate when we see these symbols. I'll talk more about that in a moment, because they are our symbols. We're taking them back. All right, this symbol here of the red and white crown. You wonder why we have the red and white crown on. This is King Namur. He was the Nesubiti, or king of Kemet, and the first dynasty, and he dates back 4,500 BCE. There are varying dates, but around 4,500 BC. And he united the north and the south of Kemet. And when he did so, he would wear this crown. All of the kings of Kemet wore this red and white crown. So this is why you have this crown on today. And you'll see here, this would later get corrupted, co-opted by Christianity, by this material consciousness, and made to be this foolery and something else. And so instead of us being proud spiritual people, we participated in this foolery. And children, what do you have to do? Children, tell me, what do you have to do to this crown? What do you have to do to it to make it look like that? What do you have to do? What is it?
Smash.
You have to smash it. And what happens to us psychologically when we see our symbols smashed, when we see them Europeanized? What happens to us in consciousness? So, yeah, so we're reclaiming and proud to wear our symbols. So here we are. Now here we are. So I'm going to show you some images of a previous KEMETIC KAREST MAS celebration, so you can see what it looks like as we get ready to do this ourselves. So here we have our drummers, and let's welcome Tony Lewis and his son. Say your son's name. Tony learners ready. We have our elders, and Adisa, our elder Adisa just came in. He'll be doing our libation in a moment. And here we have Brother William and Baba Haru. You see Brother William. So it takes elders to support a school and an academy, holding the energy with us, of course. And so here we are. Here's you today, and here's the previous gathering. And we're ready to go in just one moment. All right? And so here we are. See? So we begin with our libation. So in a moment, we're going to face east. We're going to clean the chairs, and we're going to face east, and we're going to pour libation. Here's our Brother Adisa who will pour for us. You'll learn about Ka'aba. Those are Kemetic terms that mean spirit, soul, and consciousness. How we are, how spirit tests of itself to see itself in form and to have consciousness in form. Come learn more about those studies. We won't focus on that now. And so the Ka'aba has correspondence with Osir. You'll learn all these things when you study Ka'aba. And so here we are. And you'll have your red books, and you'll see we go to each altar, each direction in space, and we'll make a recitation out of that red and white book. So just see, be with the energy as we prepare. And we'll go before, after we pour libation, then we'll go before the scales of Ma'at, which is truth, justice, balance. Our African ancestors had a corpus of law that governed their behavior, their actions, not only with each other, but with every kingdom in nature, the mineral kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, and the kingdom of souls. And there were 42 of them, and so we'll recite them one by one. We'll go to the 42. But later on, you'll see that the 10 Commandments were derived from this body of law. Can anybody pick out one of the laws that is one of the 10 Commandments? Pick up. Just name the numbers. Go ahead.
Kill.
What number is that?
Wait,
What number? What number? 4. Okay. Yes. I have done no murder. I have done no harm. So what our African ancestors did, they made a negative. They had a we have someone videoing. Can we have just one person videoing? Because where is Henry? Video? Okay.
He's right
here. Okay. So because is that Celine? No, that's not Celine. So yes, I just asked you to honor that we do have him video. So we have I have done no murder, I have done no harm. So you can find all those 10. So what happens when you take some of the pieces and some of the parts and you try to build a world? Well, this is why the world looks like it does. It's askew or out of whack because we're operating on some of the pieces and some of the parts. So then we're going to go before the scales of Ma'at when we face the west. And as we enter into the hall of the Nteri, our heart is weighed. This is our heart on this side of the scale, and it's weighed against the lightness of the feather Ma'at. Everybody hold up their feather. Everybody get a feather? Okay. So you can see how light the heart has to be. What happens if the heart is heavier leaden on the scales and the scale goes tilt, right? Then our heart is we don't pass the test in the hall of the Nteri. What are some of the things that make the heart leaden that would go plump on the scale? What are some of the things that make the heart heavy? Worry.
Regret.
And what is it?
Regret.
Angry. Anger. What? Regret.
Fear.
Hate. Excellent. Fear. Yes. Yes. Greed.
Anger.
Envy. Jealousy. All of these things. So, our African ancestors were master forensic scientists. They understood that everything is recorded scale of Ma'at. So we're working hard to be able to measure up and be in accord with the laws of Ma'at. So as you go before the scale and you read from each one and you come to one that says, well, maybe I have worked with rain lately. Just persist. And because it's your intention to work more in accord with that law as the day gets brighter and lighter, right? And so we'll do that. We'll go into the hall here. And we are moving before then, as we pass the test before the scales. This is Ani, who's being led by Haru. Now, Haru is in us. Asur, Osed, and Haru, this divine trinity is within us. It's not outside of us. So the Haru, the Kares in you, is guiding you. So the Kares in you is guiding you to then come before what? The Neb, the Lord of the world, Asur. All right, so what do we, and this is coming before, as you pass this test in the scale and your heart was found, Makaru, light as a feather, what, in truer voice, you're able to stand within the awesome presence of Asur. Now, what does it mean to be able to stand in the presence of this awesome power, this Lord of the world? Whatever we imagine that energy to be, there's a being that's ensouling this earth that we come to stand before. And what do we have to do to measure up in our own energy to be able to bear the power of that presence? We have to be the presence to come before the presence. Vibrationally, let us together as one. Vibrationally, we have to be the presence to stand before the awesome presence. Now, what happens when you go before someone like a grandmother or your grandfather, and they say, I know you took the cookie out the cookie jar. I know you didn't, I know you haven't been doing the right thing in your relationship with your wife or your husband, right? How do we feel? We feel like that. We're not quite able to bear, because they're just so powerful. We have people in our life like that. We hope everybody has someone in their life. Everybody have someone in their life that they feel they got to go with before and be correct with. Okay, so that's what Asur is. It's that Lord of the world we have to go before and be correct with, not whatever we imagine that to be. And so this is where we're coming. We're coming before the awesome presence. But you'll see this got, so you see the children here, but this got corrupted into coming before the, coming in at this time of year to get packages and presents under the Christmas tree. So this has been a corruption for us. We don't want more. Do you want more packages and presents under your tree? Or do you want to be the presence? That's the key. That is the work. So we've gotten so caught in the grips of materialism with our kids, and they're just grabbing and taking, and we're out there shopping, and people are knocking people down. When all along our African ancestors have taught us it's about being the presence. So that we can stand before the awesome presence, the Neb, the Lord, the Nebecher of the world. So he would bring the children before when we go before the East, we bring the children to come before and see what it is they need to do to measure up and be more of a presence. And all of the adults. Now, this is the sledge and the sleigh. And you see, so here is the sledge, and this would get corrupted into the sleigh. And this is what the art of the god Sakur, the sledge, and it was also called the Hindu. And when we dispel the symbol, we see that it would become the sleigh. But and this is what our African ancestors would see the sun god on. It would go on its sledge, and it would be precessing with this sledge, with the sun god on, as envisioned on it as the presence on earth. But this would get corrupted into the sleigh of Santa Claus bearing packages and so-called presents. You see the antlers? Our stuff has been corrupted and co-opted. And we're reclaiming our symbols. We're reclaiming our symbols. Okay. Now you see here, furthermore, the crook, the flail, the scepter, the staff, all corrupted into the candy cane of, when I go to Kemet, into the Cairo Museum, and you see Tutankhamun's tomb and the gold and the inlay, this became a candy cane. So we wonder why we salivate. You know what salivate? You know the experiment with Patacone's dog? Is anybody know that experiment where, everybody knows that experiment where they rang a bell and just before they fed the dog, they rang a bell and then the dog would salivate. And so it got to the point where they could just ring the bell and the dog would salivate. Because what's happened is our symbols have been corrupted, and we're attracted to them. We are attracted to the red and white. We're attracted to these symbols. We're attracted to the image of the mother and child at the breast. We're attracted to that. But like our children, you know how your children want to go out the door and you look at them and you say, look what you got on. Get back in here. You're not going out like the door like that. You got the purple on and the stripes and the polka dots and the hair's going this way and the pants are going that way and there's too much stuff showing. Get back in this house and take that off and put this on, because you see that what the child is wearing doesn't represent its divinity. It's changing its vibration. So you call the child back into the house and you say, let's restore this to its primal essence, its primal source. And so we are calling our symbols back because they've been robed and garbled and made to look like something else. But guess what? They are still our child. This red and white crown is yours, even though it went out to be something else. So we have to claim each and everything that has become something else, but in its proper expression. So here we are, moving through in our recitation. And we come to the point where we have the elders lay down the tamarisk tree. I'll show you that in a moment. And then the resurrection of the tree. So here we are in the story of Osir, after he was slain by his brother, jealous brother Seth. That might remind you biblically of some things. Guess what? The story was there before that. But this beautiful tree called the Isser, or the tamarisk, or the Osir tree grew up. This evergreen tree, the symbol of life, grew up around him as the sarcophagus floated to Byblos. And the king of the palace cut that tree and made it a pillar in his palace. Later on, Osset, his grieving wife, would go and retrieve that symbol and with her beloved. Now, in my book, you'll see how I dispel this word. We learn in our as a metaphysician to dispel these words. So you put this in a circle, and you see that there wasn't much imagination when they took this stuff. They just scrambled the words. So, see, K-R-I-S-T, not much imagination. A lot of times things are just been inverted. Just turn something upside down in your mind and you'll see how it's been inverted. So we restore back to our right source. The tree is sacred to us. We are the tree. We are. It's a symbol of life. And here we learn about the tree of life in our studies. Okay. Later in advanced studies, we learn about the Macabre, the image, the body of light. We won't talk about that too much here. And keep going. All right. So here we are. The tamarisk tree, is also the symbol of the jet pillar. So this is the pillar of Osir, symbol of stability. So we see the correlation between the jet pillar, or that tree that grew up around Osir, and the tree here, the tamarisk tree. And here we see at the symbol of that is being raised in Kemet. This is a ritual that was practiced in Kemet of raising the jet pillar. And this is the scene on the west wall of the hall of Abchu, where there's the raising of the tree, or the jet pillar, or that symbol of wood, as a sign of resurrection. We are resurrecting today. Okay, this is about our reascension and our resurrection. And we are going to cause the Academy, along with all of you, all of our supporters, this brother here, his name is Paul Cato. He's a sculptor in wood, and we've been talking, and the pillar is coming soon. So he's going to actually cause us to have one. And now, the wood is wood, and we'll see in a moment. So we raise the tree. We get a younger couple to raise, two people, male and female, to raise the tree. So we adore the tree, and we adorn the tree. The tree is most prolific thing on our planet. So we are the tree. Now, we've been traumatized. We have lots of post-traumatic slavery syndrome because of the tree. Because in this world, in this Western hemisphere, it's been used as a symbol of death. And we know what has happened for African people in the tree. But we are reclaiming, moving that out of its distortion. And you see here, okay? See, they took a tree too, and you see, this is the Assyrian cross. We do that house. So you see even this taking up this symbol here. And all this means is that you've earned your stripes. You've earned your stripes as you made your ascension. So how we earn our stripes, how we move in this death, birth, and transformation. Resurrection doesn't happen at the time of so-called physical death. You're resurrecting yourself every day. When you don't sleep at night, you have an opportunity to resurrect yourself again in the morning. All right, so here we are. We adorn the tree, we raise the tree, the children are adorning it. The children will have a chance to do this. And we're adorning it with the nectar spheres. So each of the nectar is a quality of divinity that we're calling forth more, evoking more of. And we read the qualities of the nectar. We'll see that in the children. All right, so here we are. And clearly, we are adorning the tree. We are not hanging anything on the tree. When we adorn the natural spheres upon the tree, we are recognizing the qualities of divinity that are within us and radiating, shining through us. Something or someone hangs if it is separate and affixed to something higher than itself. Do we understand that concept of what it means? The difference between adorning something and recognizing that we are the stars, we are the stellar beings, versus something that hangs. We're not hanging anything on this tree, we are adorning it, which is recognizing the nature within it. And so here we are, finally. The museum has gifted us with a star. Amsu Peru over there in the north, we'll face that eventually. And again, okay, so there we are. All right, so we'll come before the dead Lord. We'll show you how to do it. All right, so that is, here we are, just a couple more. Our elders are all, okay, there we go. All right, so now, you ready? Everybody? Okay, so what we want to do is just perfect the souls to enter into the hall of Asur. May you cause the perfected soul of Peru. And see that blank line? That's when you say your name. You can say it quietly to yourself, or you can say it out loud. But that means you. Everyone in here is a Kares. The Kares is within you. The divine trinity of Asur is in you. So you are Peru. So every time you see that line, and then we read, okay, every time you see that. And then we get to the place where we have the raising of the tree, and we have the tamarisk, we have Chris, and we have Keisha, we have young people who will raise the tree. And then we will go through the adorning of the tree. Now turn here. These are the key words for each nectar. And so we'll start with, we'll stir, and then we'll say, watch the breath together. See on the bottom, we'll stir. See, we go up the tree, see the arrows? And then finally we come down together at the bottom, right? Take a breath. Everybody ready? Let me see it? Yes. Ready? observe the one true self, omni, all presence, divine will. And then Robert, and Chris and Keisha, they'll read the longer, just a little paragraph more, okay? So I'll say group, the type of group says, and you'll read the keyword, and they'll do, and we'll go through those, and then we'll have the children come in the door one by one, and then a tall child, I think this group right here will do fine, right here in the front row, my king, what's your first name? Caleb. Okay, Caleb will put the crown, okay? All right. And then we'll turn to the north, okay? And we'll do the hymn to Haru. And you'll see this hymn to Haru is straight out of the Persian root. You'll see how much it sounds like other things you may be exposed to. All right? Then we're going to left shoulder back, and we'll face briefly here the Eastern altar. This is where you're going to come before the Neb Lord of the world. All right? After you'll be coming before the Neb Lord of the world. You will you'll be guided to receive one of the qualities that are actually magnets, and which you can put in the refrigerator. That's the purpose. But it's, why did you magnetically draw that to you? It means that you either expressing that energy of Keteru, which is beauty and creativity, etc., or you needing to call more of that into your life in order to take the next spiritual step, in order to be a greater presence in front of that awesome presence from all over the world. How are we increasing our presence? Don't you want to increase your presence? Don't you want to, permeate this earth and be a benefit to everything on earth, every kingdom, every rock, every tree, every animal, every human, every soul? Don't you want to be a benefit? This is what increasing our presence is. So what do we need to do? All right, and then so you'll face there. We'll go over that just for a moment, but we won't do that right then. We'll go on to do our concluding song, which is called Reascension into Sacredness. And at that point, we'll read precessions counterclockwise in a circle around the tree, around the Isser, and we'll sing as follows. Now, Spirit gave me these words. I was in the mountains of California, and Spirit gave me these words. I was dutiful to just write them down. I don't have any voice to sing, so pardon me. We're relying on you who have the good vocal cords. But it goes like this, together with me, after I sing. Just one. I'll do the first line. Reascension into sacredness. Reascension into sacredness. All are gathering in. All are gathering in. Reascension into sacredness. Reascension into sacredness. From the four winds. From the four winds. We'll go through the rest. Now then there's a point where we take the last line and it sounds like this. From the four winds. From the four winds. From the four winds. From the four winds. Feel their great power. Feel their great power. Now this one, we'll do this many times as we precess, and then there'll be a point where I'll give a signal, and we'll do the last three, and on the last one we're going to take the last one right to the top. So let's do this twice, and then the last one is way up here. Who's got that high voice that can, all right, it goes like this. The rising sun's inside. The rising sun's inside. All right, so just do this level. The rising sun's inside. The rising sun's inside. The rising sun's inside. The rising sun's inside. Now we'll go one more, and then that top one we're going to hit. Everybody take us there now. The rising sun's inside. All right, so the rising, with me. The rising sun's inside. The rising sun's inside. Now this is the high one. The rising sun's inside. Come on up there, those guys. The rising what has been magnetically cohered or adhered to you and through you, and go before the awesome presence, and you'll be able to talk to some of the initiates in the academy and gain more understanding. That'll be then followed by precessing out into the front, where we're blessed to have Minister Randy, who will do the blessing of our food, and then he'll offer some words. Okay? All right. So now, just not to worry. You're fine. You're going to do just fine. It may seem like, oh, that's a lot. No, just fine. That's all. It's just and then let's see. Where's my little thing? So I'm just going to give this little gong, this little chime. Okay. So this will just move us from one thing to the next. So the thing we want to do right now is clear the room, okay? Everybody on the floor, maybe after the chairs are out, then everybody is facing this. Now here we go. We are forever transforming ourselves. We are forever, we are eternal. We are the perfect. We are the ever coming ones. We got collapsed into this flesh, blood, and bone body that was told that we lost our concept of reincarnation and immortality, and got collapsed into this flesh, blood, and bone body that we were told doesn't even live 60 years or collect Social Security. We are overcoming this madness. We are the ever coming ones. We are the ever coming ones. Adisa? Adisa? Where's Adisa? He's here. Okay, come forward.
In the words of our ancestors of our Ghani, welcome, inshallah. We're so glad to have all of you here. What we're going to do is something that we've done from time immemorial whenever African people gather together. We're going to join those forces, the ancestors, those who are present, those who will be here in the future. Because as Sister Nteri said, there is no life death as it's been taught to us. There's only a continuum. There's a saying in KEMETIC Haiti with the Vemes, those who are familiar, and the four moons of the sun coming from the Congo. It's all the same coming from the Nile Valley. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour to those three entities, the ancestors, well, the spirit, the ancestors, the living, and those who will come forward in the future. And after I do each pour, we want to say Ashe. Ashe is the energy that vitalizes the elements and makes them become more than they are. Just as flesh upon flesh begets more flesh and becomes more than it is. Okay, so we want to start out by pouring to Ashe. a spirit ancestor, which animates everything. Then we want to pour to Dinknesh. Dinknesh is also known as Lucy. That's where we trace the mitochondrial DNA to the first humans that walked the planet. And from there come the Tlav, the people of Swaziland, up through the Nile Valley and all the other great river valleys to animate this world and lay those foundations, because after they arrived and they saw the heavens, they saw the rivers and the streams, and they saw everything in nature, they devised laws based on their observations. And that has guided the world ever since. Some have taken it and perverted, but nevertheless, they were the ones that laid the foundation. Those people moved down to the great river valleys and created great civilizations. We know the Nile culture, we know the Kemetic culture, we know the Congo, we know the Zimbabwe, we know the cultures pervaded in the north, the east, the west, and the south. Those cultures also laid the foundation for what would be going out in the rest of the world. In Europe, they're called the Argonauts or the Grimaldi. How many are familiar with the Venus of Milo? The little statue where you see the huge buttocks.
Yes.
That's an African goddess. That's Dinknesh's legacy to the world. That's us. So, in effect, what we practiced, we saw the woman as being divine. It wasn't just a male figure that directed and told everybody what to do. It was man and woman in partnership. This is part of what we have to reestablish. Now, after we had gotten together and built these great civilizations all throughout the continent, there was what we call a disruption. People came, saw what we had, and wanted it without paying. And then enslaved, or I hate to use the word enslaved, kidnapped us to make it so. Okay, but we resisted because it is the spirit of every living thing to resist injustice. So even though we were put on the votes, a singular act of defiance that most of us did, as you can see in Vincent Harding's book, There Is a River. Just before we left the shore, we reached down, scooped up earth, and swallowed it, because we would forever be African. Then we reached here to the New World. We built the cities. We mined the ore. We did everything that enriched Europe. But we never stopped resisting. The history of the African leaving the continent and coming to this world is the history of resistance. That resistance continues on to this day. And how did we resist? Say the name of a resistor that you know. Okay. More. Okay. Okay. Not just let me be the voice. Because not just through militarism. Martin Luther King. Stephen Biko. All right. 54th President. Danny Lou-Hamer.
The Seminole tribes.
Right. And on all those islands and in the south of this country, we saw militant resistance. And you have named quite a few. How many know that the largest slave revolt that ever happened in this country happened in Louisiana? 4,000 people participated in the revolt of 1811. So check that one out. We have never stopped resisting. Now, what happens though is we had to find devices of how to survive. One of the best ways to do that was Christianity was forced onto us. But we responded by creating candomblé in Brazil, Santeria, right? Because we grafted the African gods into the religion that was forthcoming as a way to pass on our shit. And now we have the people like Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Elijah Garvey, because Marcus Mosiah Garvey pointed us away and still points the way today. He says, up to you, mighty race, you can't accomplish what you do. And we see that today. For example, we have Black Lives Matter. We have the young people who have organized around Trayvon. We have the young brothers in the University of Missouri football team who carried that out there threat not to play until that administrator went. They said he would never go. He's going, but then happened. So we're still getting used to. We've been out of power for a long, long time. You know, we can't joke about it. We can't tell any lies and claim any easy victories. We have been out of power, but the power is still within us to do what we must. And we will shake the economic foundations of this country once we find our power. That is what they understand. For everyone that's here and everyone you know, make a commitment to be loving and to teach. Encourage people to read. Spend time with them, talking and love. That's the only way we're going to win.
All right. Okay. cycle moves to face the south. Journey. The chapter of not letting the heart of a man or woman be taken away from him or her in the underworld, from the prison room. The lowering of the karest commerce tree of the dead pillar. And together it is one that the disciple who says, "Oh, you who may perfect your souls to enter into the halls of the Sir, may you cause the perfected soul of the room victorious in the hall of double truth, and enter with me into the house of the Sir. May I hear as you hear, may I see as you see, may I stand as you stand, may I sit see the arrow, we move our way up. So together is one. Observe the one true self, omni, all presence, divine will. So let us find okay, thank you. You guys be up. Put on the tree. Okay, good. Yeah. Great. Put it on. Yes, put it on.
Yes, ma'am. Wasir, realizing my full being, unlimited access to the fountain of all possibility in order to achieve all things, the one true self, the drawer of all power, all wisdom, all pervading presence.
Together as one, the disciple group says, stand, nurturing and birthing the one true self. Any other person? My little grandson. See your little grandson next one. Okay. Okay, excellent. Sure. Our reading?
Persevering, ceaseless devotion, and regathering the broken body of a sir, desiring the luminous mirror, image, reflection of the Divine Father upon the emotional, impregnable, and majestic waters of the Divine Mother, the remembrance of the marriage between the Divine Nature, Father and Mother, Spirit and matter, the womb nurturing and birthing the one true self, which is me.
Next, together as one. All knowing, divine, wisdom, and love. Divine qualities in us. And disciple princess, nice and loud.
Intuitive, divine intelligence, ideation, wisdom, love, underlying unity, knowledge of both, heart and the perfect relationship between, glimpsing the divinely intended architectural design and plan for manifestation, pure and perfect without distortion or flaw, illuminating light and higher mind, all-knowing, omniscience.
Pure and secure. Together as one, disciple says, omnipresent, all power, divine intelligence. All right, and disciple initiative.
Draw the vibrational circle that contains the greatest good, creating structure and setting limits within which full creative potential, power, and intelligence can be achieved. Circumscribing the fields of experience and allotting space and time in which divine purpose is made manifest. A third of these surroundings are sounding a cool word of power, demanding the full vibrational sounding expression of the one true self and the to-be manifested form of my becoming. Powering the goal of the archetypal design and achieving my intended purpose, graduated through past not boundary experiences.
And next, together as one, disciple princess, precision, creating, and then finishing says, one young person. Yes, okay. Thank you so much.
are the fabric or garment of nature from God. I am fashioning my finest robes, my best thread spun with superatomic substance, so fine that scientists are still trying to figure out how to see and identify the spherical luminous body of light that I am, releasing or holding back the floodwaters of the Nile, source of things which exist, creator of things which shall be, father of fathers and father of fathers and mother of mothers.
And get the rule together as one. God, beauty, greater wholeness.
Glimpsing through higher abstract mind and imagination, inner archetypal patterns of beauty, responding towards lovingly and magnetically attracting the higher ideals and greater wholeness, meditating discordant energies and creating harmony in accordance in relationships, aspiring for the one true self, artistically and creatively engaging energy along the spinal column, jet pillar to ascend through planes of consciousness.
And so back together as one. Thinking, reasoning, communicating.
Clothing, divine ideation and thought forms, making it tangible in the concrete mind, applicable in the real world, in both cycles of drought and floods, abundance and poverty prevail. Critical thinking, accumulating knowledge, problem solving, planning, reasoning, analyzing data, and particularizing, discerning, and examining parts, grounding higher ideas and ideals into practical life solutions, communicating ideas.
Maker and Karakuti. So Mahat, Jessica, together,
Upholding truth, justice, righteousness, order, balance, harmony, reciprocity, and right relationship in order to live in accord with universal laws of nature, honoring the essential self and all and the web of interdependence between all created beings, embracing philosophy of wisdom that embraces all, right working together with might, love, and will.
Ashe and Karakuti together. Service, strength, right, and honor.
The right of the resident, the fullness of the one true self while upholding the right of other. The same one true self that is brought as identity in fullness, might, and right, will, and honor, working together. Triumph, warrior, and defender of the right.
Ashe and Karo. Karest. Divinely honored, will, co-created son, daughter.
Making choices that bend personal will into alignment with divine will, and is triumphant over set. The caress within me, the radiating heart of intelligent, loving will. Building in conscious accord and co-creative participation in the divinely intended design, purpose, and plan for my life. Growing soul conscious and consciousness, fulfilling my life purpose.
Her. And then, yeah. Manifesting heaven on earth. Building the light temple.
Manifesting the livingness of the new natural God dwelling within
we're gonna circumambulate around the tree. All right, we'll do that until we finish. So let's begin to circumambulate.
Your home. We're here all the time, and our purpose is to help us say to ourselves and to the world who we are as black people. So any discourse that is about our history, the lessons we've learned and the lessons we need to teach, about how to be more brotherly, more fatherly, more sisterly, how to generally be who we ought to be in the world. We are a place that aligns with and supports that effort. And it was with that sense of the large community that we are globally that we're very pleased to have been the site of this occasion today. Welcome always here. If you also have ideas and other ways of promoting values that we as a community can embrace, I'm always happy to entertain them and to try to find a way to make them part of the dialogue that can knit us together. If there is one value I think we're always called upon to affirm, it's talking to each other. Because we cannot learn to love each other without talking with each other. We cannot be a family without talking to each other. And we cannot make the kinds of markers, the rituals, the remembrances that stand at the center of peoplehood, except we talk to each other and come together and try to enlarge the ways in which we share. So I'm very, very pleased that you could come today. I'm very happy to have been invited to be part of this process. We have a conversation that's sort of been starting and stopping, and it needed to get to a climax. So today is a good road down that path. I'm very pleased with that. And as I said at the beginning, you're welcome anytime and invited back forever. You, yourself, your family, all are welcome here.
Thank you.
What I want to do, because I know the last word that Minister Randy will say, and in terms of blessing, and and maybe eat some, and I know everybody will just head that way. So this is probably the only opportunity to get a picture. Can we get a picture? Who can take them? Can you do it? Can you do it? Show. Okay.
I think one with mine also.
Okay. So let's give the children in the front. Let's come this way. Or should we go this way in front of the?
This way.
Okay, this way. So can everybody come this way? Children here? Okay, come children. Oh, okay, so, okay. That's a nice picture. Everybody, Lester, come back, come back. Get everybody. Sammy?
Show our appreciation for Dr. Nteri. Did a beautiful job. Let's together, let's give it up. Prayer, and then just say a few words, and we can go and break bread together. Just follow me in prayer as you'll come. In the name of the one God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the revealer of all truth, the sender of all prophets, we thank you for all of your blessings. We thank you for this gathering here today. We thank you for the information that was shared. We thank you for all of the knowledge. We thank you for coming to reclaim our symbols and our rights and our heritage. We thank you for everyone that showed up. We pray that you bless us with your spirit. Bless us with your energy. Bless us to take the information and internalize the information, that we may move out in your name, in your spirit, that we may move out to live these principles. Bless those of us that are here and those that are connected to us that may not be here. Bless our people in this time. Bless us to get through these trying times in which we now live. We ask that you bless the food that we're about to partake in, that it may nourish our bodies. We ask you this in the name of all of your prophets, messengers, and apostles. Let us all say amen.
Amen.
Well, brothers and sisters, I just want to say that it's truly an honor, and I want to thank Dr. Nteri for inviting me to be here. This is my first time at a Karest Mas celebration, and a beautiful event. So good to be among so many beautiful, conscious black folks. Brothers and sisters, we are living in a very serious time. Our people are being killed in the streets with impunity. Not only as a result of a lack of knowledge of self, are we engaged in killing ourselves, those of our people who lack the knowledge of themselves, that are involved in black-on-black violence, gang violence. But we're also looking at an increase in violence that is happening by law enforcement that are killing our men, our women, and our children, where our people today are still being lynched. And so in response to the violence, and as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan described it, he said we are fighting a war on two fronts. The first front is we have to fight a war in our own community against black-on-black violence, meaning that we have to engage our own people to get us to stop killing us. And so we have to intervene in some of these conflicts that are going in. We need more role models. The minister's calling for 10,000 fearless black men that'll be fearless enough to go and stand between the gangs and the guns, and to stop the violence that's going on in our community, to educate our men and our youth and even our women, so that we can have self-love, because we're a powerful people. And the second front that the war is to stop our oppressor, the law enforcement, from killing us as well. So in response to this current situation, we gathered together for the 20th anniversary of the Main Man March, and the cry was Justice or Else. Justice or Else was not a moment, but it was movement. And so really we went there to make a statement, to make our demand for justice, but really the work really began the next day, because we have entered into a protracted struggle to secure the justice that we demand. There are things that we have to do. A lot of people are saying, well, what is the or else? Or else means that we're going to take decisive action to bring the justice that we demand. And so one of the initiatives that came out that we're pushing has been down, up with Jesus, down with Santa. And so being at this Karest Mas celebration, we can say up with Heru, which is the real Jesus. Is that right? So we can say up with Heru and up with Karest Mas. And down with Christmas, which is the commercializing, merchandising to our people that causes us to spend half of all of the money that we make in a year, we spend in the Christmas celebration. And so buying gifts and making everybody rich except us. So we had a campaign where we're boycotting Christmas. And we want to focus, like we did today, on the righteous principles of that day and what it really means, without having to give our wealth to fund our own oppression. Because when we run to the mall and give all of our money to those that don't look like us, this government is really not a government of the people, for the people. We live in what is an oligarchy, where you have the top businesses that really dictate laws. Our Congress, we vote and elect these folks into office, but the lobbyists got more sway with our Congress and senators than the common people do. And so really it's the businesses that control the Congress and the laws of the land. And so this is why we're trying to hit them where it hurts, in their pocket. And so we want to keep our money in our pocket. So I wanted to share that as one of the initiatives. Now, the whole basis of this celebration around the resurrection really is all about you. And we are living in that time where it's time for the universal rise of we as an indigenous original black people who are the fathers and mothers of civilization. Black people invented every form of science. We invented mathematics, astrology, philosophy, theology, medicine, music. Black folks invented all that. We are the descendants of the builders of the pyramids, as we're seeing and studying and learning. Our ancestors that created all of these things. But look at us today. We're in a destroyed state, for we have been robbed of our name and language and culture, our God, our religion, our identity. But this is the time now for our resurrection. And so as we celebrate this Karest Mas and we go through the rituals and understand and reclaim our symbols, let us reclaim ourselves and understand that we are in that time of resurrection, that we got to come together as a people to correct what is wrong and to empower ourselves. We are not a powerless people. We are the power. We just have to reclaim our power for ourselves. So things and celebrations like this is a start, but let's not let it end simply with the ritual. Let's internalize the lessons and let's live these principles. Let's move from here in unity. Let's get to know each other as we go to break bread, get to know each other, love each other, support each other. So part of the up with Jesus or Heru and down with Christmas, part of the boycott that we want to do is, but we want to also support black businesses. So you want to make sure that if your brother and your sister has a business and they selling something, support that black business. We have to empower ourselves. So with that, I thank